Oh, good. You're awake. I'm soaked through. Let's get warmed up, shall we? I'm glad I caught you. I couldn't have forgiven myself if it happened again. I suppose Rab must have told you about your mother, that she sacrificed herself to save you and a princess of Heliodor. Well, you've probably worked it out for yourself already, but I was that princess. Your mother saved my life. That night, the night Dundrasil fell, we ran from the castle, but the monsters were too fast. She handed you to me and distracted them for long enough for us to get away. She died to save us. But even though she trusted me with you, I was too weak and stupid to... I fell in the river and I let you go. I can't tell you how many times I've wished that it was you Rab fished out of there and not me. After he found me, we headed back to Heliodor. We thought my father might help us to find you. But when we got there, we found out he was telling people I'd been killed by the Luminary. He was trying to make people believe awful things about you. Rab was convinced that he wasn't in his right mind, that someone must be controlling him. So we set out together to find out who and why. I never expected to see Hendrik again, let alone on a battlefield. We were lucky to get out of there alive. Looks like the rain's dying down. We should head back to Dundrasil.
Alrighty. We're just gonna skip all the battles to get to the ruins of Dundrasil from here, but if you do happen to run into an encounter, Jade will fight alongside the Luminary as a temporary party member.
So I was right. I had suspected it would take more than a mere fall to put pay to the Darkspawn.
Sir Hendrik.
Can it really have been so many years since that fateful night, Princess? To see you alive and well, you cannot imagine how much this pleases me. But should you choose to continue to side with the Child of Darkness, you may not live for much longer.
Look, I know how you feel about duty, Hendrik. How could I forget? You don't understand how important this is. Please, you have to let us go.
You would ask a sworn knight of Heliodor to disobey the orders of his king? You have been away from home too long, girl.
Not long enough for the years to have changed you. Still loyal to a fault. I wish it didn't have to come to this. But it has.
Yeah! Impressive, Princess. The spirited young girl of old has grown into quite the warrior maiden.
Oh, please. I'm not a child anymore. It'll take more than a pat on the head to distract me.
And what will it take to convince you that I am deadly serious? That if you stand on the side of the Darkspawn, I will have no choice but to destroy you? Yeah!
Patrick!
Princess!
I'm sorry. Get on. Now hold on tight.
Princess, what have you become?
Well, that was effective and efficient. And it looks like they've cleared out all the green dragons.
Look!
There you both are. And in one piece, too.
Just about. No thanks to Hendrik and his men.
So it was old Hendrik, was it? I thought it might be. I would have liked a wee word with the rascal, but I doubt he'd have told us much. Well, if even he's out for your blood, the forces of evil must have a stronger hold in Heliodor than ever. It wouldn't be the first time a once glorious kingdom had been brought low by monstrous powers, you know. Many years ago, a dastardly fiend destroyed an entire empire with his wicked ways. A legendary evil named Mordegon. His story is all but forgotten these days. I had to tramp halfway around the world just to learn his name. But the more I find out about him, the more I'm convinced he's the one behind all this. Dundrasil, the troubles in Heliodor, everything. Which is why you're going to have to stop him, laddie. The fate of the whole world depends on it. You're the luminary, after all. You were born to defeat the Dark One. But you'd be more than foolish to face him unprepared. He's a master of darkness, the like of which the world has never seen.
Then we must make our way to Yggdrasil as soon as we can. The legends of Arborea tell of a means of fighting the darkness that can only be found there. Veronica, that must be why we're supposed to take him there, mustn't it?
Here you are, laddie. It's yours at last. You'll be needing it if you're to make your way to the World Tree. If anyone can get this old stick to show us the way, it's you. Lead on, Luminary.
Well, can you see anything?
Don't tell me it's a dud! If that Noah sent us in a wild goose chase, I'll throttle him! He could have told us it didn't work before we wasted a zillion hours chasing it halfway across the world.
Now, let's not jump to conclusions. Why don't Jade and I join you, and we'll see if we can't make our way a bit closer to Yggdrasil and try again. We'll not give yous any bother, I promise.
just like with most other scenarios in which we had temporary party members palling around, Jade and Rab are joining the party with a few extra steps. Now these two are really, really strong party members. I'm actually going to throw both of them in the party right now, just to kind of show this off. Let's see. So, Rab specializes in both attack magic and healing magic. He could do both Veronica's and Serena's roles, but just not quite as good. He's got Crack and Crackle and Zam, which is a really strong single target spell, which it basically does more damage than most of the single target spells at the cost of there being a lot of enemies that resist dark elemental energy. He also has Whack, which isn't that good because it doesn't work most of the time, and Insulate to protect a single party member from breath attacks, as well as Bounce to reflect magic off of them. I will say this, will bounce healing spells as well, so take care when you use this. He starts with mid-heal and Zing for your healing needs, as well as a couple of other nice spells as well. For his character builder tree, they both start with a lot of points. He has his own special tree called Enlightenment, which gets him a lot of pretty useful skills. Let's see, let me pop up my notes here. Yeah, so his Enlightenment tree is really good for helping him with his magical mending and his magical might, since he can kind of do both. So if you want to treat him as more of a mage, you can. But what Rab has that's kind of unique is that he can also dual wield claws instead of heavy wands. If you want to take him down the path of claws, he has a few really good abilities that you can make good use of. Claw weapons are weak, and especially with Rab, his physical attack isn't the greatest, so they'd be pretty weak for him, but they do have really good critical hit chances. In particular, if you want him to be really good with claws, let's see. A couple of abilities he could get a little bit later in the game are really, really useful for him. Mostly because of the special properties they have. The Heavy Wands route is really good for helping him with his spell crafting, magical might, and stuff like that, since they give him a lot of bonuses for wielding heavy wands. So you could take him that way. Zing Stick is actually a really good ability. Holy cow. This is mostly because it's guaranteed to res as opposed to other things. Man, oh, that makes heavy wands so tempting. It really does. But yeah, so if you want him to do physical attacks, claws are a pretty good way to go. He's not the best at them, but he can be pretty good at them, and they'll help save on his MP. It's just, the abilities that you really want on claws, you don't have access to yet. You will later, though. You will later. Whereas with heavy wands, they're really good for him being a mage, and Zing Stick is just too goddamn tempting. Literally, I cannot resist, so I'm going to pile him down heavy wands until we get Zing Stick. I couldn't resist. I'm weak, and natural selection will come for me. Let's see, I don't think we'll quite have enough to make it all the way there, but we'll have enough to where a couple of levels afterwards we'll be able to make it to Zing Stick. Guaranteed res is more important than you might think it is, so we'll work on that for him. He also starts off with a few skills from Enlightenment. Benediction to remove curses, Empathy to exchange your MP to give it to a different party member, and Right as Rain, which is what I really care about. It's a regen to all party members for a pretty decent amount. It cures about as much as the heal spell every turn. That's why I'm okay with swapping out Sylvando temporarily. Let's see now, Jade. Jade is probably my favorite party member in the game, if I'm going to be honest with you. I realize that technically speaking, Eric can do more damage, but Jade can do a lot of damage with less setup than he can. And it's more consistent DPS too, which is really what I care about a lot. Whereas with Eric, he has insane burst. But yeah, Jade is pretty much strictly a physical DPS. She's got really good attack, and she's really strong weapons to go along with it, but not a lot of like MP or any magey kind of things either. It's the MP that's the real problem, because a lot of her abilities use MP, which you can run out of really quickly. But she can do a lot of damage in the meantime. She's probably one of the best characters to use mid-game just for that. Let's see. For her abilities, she can also dual-wield claws. They're weaker than her other weapons, but they can... but they have high crit chance if you want to go for that. Personally, though, I think she's much better off going with spears. Spears are really strong in this game. They're some of the best weapons you can have, mostly because a lot of them have just really high attack power, which is what you want for Jade. But also, spear skills are really good as well. She also has Fisticuffs, which is a unique ability for using punches and kicks and whatnot to deal a lot of damage. There's some really good abilities down the Fisticuffs way too, both now and a little bit later in the game. And her Allure skill tree is her charm-based skill tree. She also has charm powers like Sylvando does. I don't think they're as good as what you can get from Sylvando's tree. She doesn't have anything like Hustle Dance or anything like that. It's mostly like stuff that can inflict beguilement and other turn-wasting status ailments. But I usually find that she's better off doing straight damage. But it's up to you whether or not you want to use it. I didn't find much use out of Allure when I built it in my first playthrough of the game on the PS4, but your mileage, as with all things in this game, may vary. Now, personally, I want to put Jade through Spears first, for Thunder Thrust specifically, but also another ability called Multi-Thrust, which I think is one of the hidden panels. Let's see... Yeah, it's one of the hidden panels. I don't quite recall... which hidden panel it is. Ah! Okay, there we go. It would be this one then, I'm pretty sure. This one is Multi-Thrust. I explained Multi-Thrust a little bit earlier, but basically since it hits multiple targets randomly, during a single target encounter, all of the targets it'll hit is the boss, and that's really good damage. So, let's start building her towards Spears. We're basically going to take her down this way and around over to this way. And that way we'll get a lot of nice abilities. Let's see. She starts with Harvest Moon on Fisticuffs, by the way. It's a really useful ability for flying enemies because it does more damage to them. We also unlocked the secret panel, which is a Pep Chance plus %, which is kind of useful. Not right now, but kind of useful. Let's see. Thunder Thrust will help us out a lot with metal slimes. And we're just a little short on Party Pooper. Group of enemies. I don't actually care that much about striking against a group of enemies, so I'm gonna get Deliverance since there are not a small number of undead, and we can get Multi-Thrust later. Awesome. Couple of level ups for her, and we'll be good as gravy. Okay, now that I'm done screwing around with that, the party I'm gonna go with for a little bit here is the hero, Eric, Rab, and Jade. Between the four of them, they'll actually do a lot of damage to whatever we come across, but it's a little riskier because we don't have the Hustle Dance to go for us, but since we can swap out mid-fight anyway, I'm kind of okay with that. But alright, we've got a couple of new Oh?
Huh? Hey, the branch, it's
Oh, darlings, did you see it? It was so pretty.
A sort of platform floating in the sky, and 6 coloured orbs.
Oh, I think I understand. We need to find the orbs and take them to the platform, and then the path to Yggdrasil will appear.
Maybe trekking halfway round the world to find that branch wasn't such a waste of time after all. And we've already got one of the orbs we need, too. I knew swiping this thing from the castle was the best idea I ever had. I had my own plans for it. But this is way more important. It's yours now. Just don't lose it, okay?
Our prize from the tournament. Lucky we didn't sell it in the end, eh?
Aye. And there I was, all set to swap it for a few piffling trinkets for the road. It's yours now, though, laddie. Now, it looked like that platform we saw was located right under Yggdrasil. That means it must be somewhere deep inside the first forest. So, we know where we have to go. We just need to find the other 4 orbs first.
But where in the world would we even begin to look?
Orbs, orbs. Oh, I do remember a fairy tale about a giant pearl sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Can't remember the details, though.
Well, if we don't have any real clues, I guess we'll just have to head out into the world and find some.
You're not wrong there. In which case, let's head for Puerto Valor. We can get out into the open ocean from there.
It's off to the northwest of Gondolia. A fairly straightforward voyage, if you ask me.
And you'll be pleased to hear that I'm friends with Don Rodrigo, the big man over that way. I'm sure he'll open the sea gates for us. Right then, let's get moving, shall we? The sooner we get our hands on those orbs, the sooner we can make our way up to Yggdrasil.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main part of Act 1, the search for the orbs. So, luckily we get 2 of the orbs for free, but we'll need to locate the other 4 ourselves, which means we'll have to head off to Puerto Valor, figure out where to go next, and gather the orbs so that we can make it all the way to Yggdrasil. That's basically where the main beat of the story is going to take us next, traveling around the world to look for the orbs. Kind of like that part of Dragon Quest VI, where once we gathered everyone and done the first little bit of that game with Murdaugh, we just kind of had to explore the world and fight monsters while going on a quest. You know what I mean. But this is where the game starts to really pick up, I would say. We have everyone, we've got our big goal for the game. Now all we gotta do is do it. In the next episode of Let's Play Dragon Quest XI-S. See you guys then.